Hey everyone, welcome to the Fundamentally Messy podcast with Visa and Sharon.
Hi.
Hi. So we recorded 2 episodes and I'm pretty happy with both of them. How did you feel about the first couple of episodes?
I say the word fundamentally and messy too much.
There's no such thing as too much. You gotta lean into it. When you feel like something, you're self-conscious about a thing, you just gotta do more of it.
Very well.
Make it real.
Actually, so someone asked. There's still a bunch more questions we haven't gotten around to, and someone asked what's my favorite childhood memory, and that made me realize I've never asked you yours. And I would really like to know, like, what's your favorite childhood memory?
You want to know what my favorite childhood memory is?
Yes.
I don't know if there's like a specific memory. First thing I think about is books. I'm just reading. I guess I was really looking forward to a video game, SimCity 3000. Because I played SimCity 2000 and it was really nice and cool. And then like SimCity 3000 came out. I was like, wow, it's so shiny and modern. And like I wanted it for my birthday. I had to ask my mom, and it was like $60, right? She's $50-$60. Was a lot of
What
money.
year was this? How old were you?
1997? No, 8 or 9 maybe. Primary
That's so
3 or
cute.
4. Yeah, we got it at Mustafa Center. So it's like every year on my birthday, my mom would bring me to the temple at Serangoon Road
Yeah.
and do prayers and stuff.
Wait, when did you get your first computer?
Well, define your? So it's like my family. So it was the family's computer,
Yeah.
right? So there was a computer when I was like 4 or 5, maybe. That was like an MS DOS computer. So I know my sister and my brother, they would play. There was like Prince of Persia on it.
That's so cool. That's like, I think at least 2 years before I got access to my first computer.
Yeah, I was very early. I mean, relative to our peers. I mean, so when we talk to our like friends in the US and whatnot, there are people who, like, they seem to be even ahead of that,
Yeah.
right? But that's like in the context of like Singaporean non-techie nerd
Yeah.
types, I was pretty early. So the first one was a Windows 3.1. That's like ski free and solitaire and all those things. And then we got a Windows 95 Pentium 2. And I think we paid grossly overpaid for it. Like my dad loves to, I think he went to like one of those big box stores and they paid installments and they bought like the highest, most expensive features at the time.
That's so cool though.
It was cool, but it became obsolete within like a year or 2 years, right? Because like Pentium 2 and then Pentium 3 and Pentium 4 came out. And like, yeah, I remember my computer. I've never had a good gaming PC actually. Like my computers have never been good for playing video games. And it's kind of funny, I'm a 31-year-old adult male now, and I've never actually had a good gaming PC. And so after I sell my book, I think when I want to do all the stuff we want to do, I'm quite looking forward to getting a gaming PC. Anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I think SimCity 3000 was a very cherished childhood memory.
That's so cute. How many hours did you spend on it?
So many. Oh god, hundreds. Multiple hundreds maybe.
I remember like we got our first computer like a few months before like the first school term started. So like right before P1.
So you were 6,
Yeah.
and then?
And there was a program that came installed on it, I think, and it was like some kind of Disney coloring program thing. I don't know why. I just knew I spent a lot of time like coloring Mickey Mouse just because the experience of coloring on the computer was new.
Yeah, I had a bunch of those, that kind of thing, like educational games, and it's weird to try and reconstruct those memories because I know that we bought some like Pasar Malam device, like one of those like Pasar Malam, for those of you who don't know, is night market in Singapore, and it's like a street market basically. And there used to be all these street market bootleg devices. Like you don't even know what brands they're like, off-brand, strange. It's like I think they get like emulators, and I don't even know how they do it, but it's like you buy a controller and there's like a dozen games in it, stuff like that. And yeah, I don't recall what console I used. I know my brothers had a Sega Mega Drive, and so that's where I played Bare Knuckles, Streets of Rage 1 and 3. Yeah, and my brothers and I were very into our Sega Mega Drive. Spent a lot of hours on that. And
I feel like you're just saying words I don't know now.
the Sega Mega Drive is it's so you mentioned you had your brother had a Game Boy. It's kind of like a Game Boy, but it's it's a bigger console. It's like a before PlayStation. There used to be these cartridges for games that you.
Actually, that's kind of like a perk of being the younger sibling, right? Like your older siblings would have had like money to spend on their own toys that they let you use when you
Yes.
can.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, so that was the emotional landscape that I grew up in, which is like, I'm kind of the favorite child in the family, which I didn't ask for, but just that's what I became. And so all of my older siblings, they love me. They're also a bit jealous of me. They want to share stuff with me, but they also kind of enjoy
the power trip of taking it away from you.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the thing I had to navigate, and I think what that did, and it's interesting to reflect on this because I don't think I've ever thought about this in great detail, but like I think as a consequence, why are you laughing?
No, I'm just thinking of like one of my so one of the first like board games I think my parents bought for us was Monopoly. And it was again over the school holidays like you buy us one game and it will occupy us for the whole month, right? And I don't know what happened, but it was me, my brother, and my cousin who would spend holidays with us. And I don't know how we played the game, but we basically had some serious inflation, and then we started designing and printing our own money.
Right.
And like one day my parents came home and they're like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, why is there so much paper all around the house? What are y'all doing with the money?"
They say you printed it with like a computer printer.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
Like we had the whole like my mom used to have one of those like the serious paper cutters at home.
Oh.
And I don't know what we were going on. It was like, like how in Good Girls they counterfeiting money.
Right.
But it was just a bunch of children who have completely lost the plot of Monopoly, and I was just printing a lot of money.
I would love to hear the stories of all the improvisational things that people do with board games. So like recently I think on Twitter, like Uno, the official Uno account, was like, oh, you can't stack draw 4s and draw 2s. And the entire world was like, you don't know how to play Uno. Don't tell us how Uno works. Go home and be a family man. Just kind of like that's not how like it's just the power of being able to stack +4s and +2s and just utterly destroy someone. Like it's just that's the whole point of Uno. Like Uno saying you can't do that is like sacrilege.
Yeah, you can make up your own rules. Like we give you the illusion of power and then we give you the money for it, but the rules are ours. Fuck you.
Yeah, but that's amazing, right? It's amazing that rules like just that it's not up to the creators. You can suggest something, but you have set into motion something much more powerful than you have imagined.
Yeah.
Like once you've summoned the demon, you can't unsummon the demon. Don't pretend you can control it. Where were we? Oh yeah, I was saying so the thing about being the youngest kid and a bit of like the golden child or whatever is that actually I feel like I did not develop my autonomy until very late. And I tried to develop it as a teenager. And the funny thing is my siblings would say that my parents gave me more freedom than they got, which is true. But like I don't know, I feel like, and maybe this is just younger person bias, right? You see you see your older siblings and you see they seem to be more something. Like I think now, so I remember when I was 20, 21, I remember comparing myself to my memory of my sister when she was 20, 21. And she seemed more mature. I don't know if mature is the right word. More self-directed. Something. And again, there's complications, right? Like she's a woman. Women have to be concerned about more things. But then my brothers, not so much. I don't know. But what I remember was that just until I married and until we got married and I left home, I just didn't feel autonomous. And my role in my family is definitely a significant element in shaping that. What about you? What did you feel about your sense of autonomy? We already know you were playing truant in primary school.
Wow, I think I was always a very stubborn child. I was
not obvious.
I don't know if I would describe myself as difficult. I didn't feel like I went out of my way to be difficult, but I was stubborn. Like with my family, it's just me and my brother. He's younger than me, so he gets. I mean, I will confess to bullying him sometimes, but it comes around lah. Like when my cousin's over, then the two of them gang up on me. So
that's so interesting.
It's quite a strange dynamic to look back on.
Yeah. I mean, is it strange? It's just interesting, right? What do you say, it's strange?
Well, I don't think that much about it, but it must have been something.
I mean, I think as you look back on this sort of thing, the more you investigate and evaluate, the more it kind of all makes sense. Like, there's always things that you didn't quite catch, or you didn't quite connect the dots on, but you also didn't really question.
Yeah. Yeah, like now I'm suddenly remembering, like, so when you have two kids, you buy things in twos, right? So like there were these two like very nice kiddie chairs. They were very comfortable. And so what happened once was my cousin was over, and my cousin and my brother were sitting in it, and I just really wanted it. Like, I just wanted my chair. And I was a pain about it. I know I was a pain about it, but like, it was such a.
So you're just having a moment realizing how difficult you were.
Well, but you could see that they enjoyed goading you into like being irritating, right? Like
there's this whole theater going on.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone plays their parts.
And like you know the way like today you would say I have a biting problem.
I did not say that.
Like I bite you because between you and me I can bite you. But like when I was a kid, I had a serious like pinching problem.
Right.
Like I would pinch people, and it would really hurt.
Why are you like this?
I don't know.
Sadistic.
Yeah, but they enjoyed bullying me when they were together, so I think it all evens out.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they both still love you, and neither of them, holds your child self's weird decisions against you. But yeah, I'm now. You've got me thinking now about how strange childhood is. Like no one really goes into the specifics because the specifics are so weird and so alien from adult life. Even before you even if you account for cultural differences, like the culture of the world changes every 10 years or whatever. But like, even you look. I remember going to one of my friends' houses to play video games on his computer, and his little brother, so we were 13, 14, no, sorry, younger than that, we were like 12, and his younger brother would have been, I'm pretty sure he's in primary school, like 7, primary 1, primary 2, 7 or 8, and he came out of the shower and he just ran into the room butt naked. And it's funny, like you know that he's old enough to know what nudity is, and he's kind of dancing on that line. Like if he was younger, if he was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 and kind of not really aware of it or whatever, like I don't think he would have done that. But he was very clearly deciding to burst into the room, and like his mom is chasing him. Like he's choosing that mischief of, I am of the age where I can, like the window is closing. Like the next year it won't be cute. Like it's on the borderline of cute and oh no, right? Yeah. If it was younger, everyone would just be like, it's my tiny little infant child brother. Yeah. But like he was just pushing the boundaries, and yeah, it's so funny now to think back, and and the amount of like self-awareness that a child has,
Yeah.
and the self-awareness of a child again is such a mind fuck because it's just investigating your own, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did you know? A surprising amount. And what did you not know? Also a surprising
Yeah.
amount. And
Yeah.
somehow we just bumble along with this partial understanding.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm thinking about like junior college and prom and I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird that we just get through life
Yeah.
and we're still around and we're not.
Like it'd be so funny to one of those like if you can wake up and be someone else for a day. Like it'd be so weird to just be a kid.
Kids are tripping balls all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But I do remember like I feel like I remember a lot about childhood, and I don't know if other people don't, or they forget, or they transmute their memories into adult language or something. But
Yeah.
like I have snatches of memory where I can really put myself in the state. So here's one thing I remember. I was like maybe 14 or 15,
Yeah.
and my dad dropped me off at school.
Yeah.
And the moment I got off the lorry, he's driving a lorry. The moment I got out of the vehicle, I started running. I put on my school bag and I started running all the way to the other side of the school. I just wanted to run. Like there's no reason for it. There's no. I think I heard my dad say, "What's that crazy boy doing?" And it's like,
It's just because you're in school. Whenever you're in school, like there's always some teacher like telling you to not run or be careful or something. And so you must have seen the window where like if you get off a vehicle, it looks like you're on the way to somewhere. And so you can get away with looking like you have a purpose.
maybe, but I had no purpose, listener. I promise you, there's no reason for me to do what I did. And just I'm thinking back. There's a whole bunch of things where you do a thing and there's no reason. I remember being like 7. So in primary 1, you get attached to like a primary 3 buddy, right? Do you remember your buddy? I mean, like, vaguely.
I don't actually.
So
I don't remember the person's like face, but I remember like standing outside the school bookshop,
Right.
being like a tiny child and watching these giant children walk around.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember anything specific about what that kid was or what his name was or whatever. But I remember, so he's supposed to bring me to recess, right? And they watch you eat. I guess they eat with you or whatever. And after we ate, he brought me to the school field where people are like running around and whatever. Okay, it's so strange to say this. People, this kid's running around, and there's like this concrete steps leading down from the thing to the field, and there's like railings at the side. And he got on the railing and he slid down, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna try it, and I did it, and I slid down the thing as well, and like. He didn't specifically teach me that, but I saw him do it and I emulated it, and I would not have emulated it if not for him. And there's just one random thing that I once did because some kid, and I guess I did that at home on my parents' staircase Lannister as well. And it's just it's a little thing that I brought with me from some other child. And it's just like there's this book I've been meaning to read. I haven't read it, so it's by Jay Griffiths. So Jay Griffiths wrote A Sideways Look at Time. And she has a book about childhood. I think 2 books about childhood. Yeah, one's called like Kith, and the other is I don't know what it's called. But she talks about basically childhood as a landscape, right? It's a whole space. And Maurice Sendak, the author of Where the Wild Things Are, he has these quotes about how children kind of live in fantasy and reality at the same time, and they kind of navigate both worlds simultaneously, and they slip back and forth in a way that adults aren't so good at doing. I think, and so it's just interesting to think about.
Kids are fun to be around. I miss being around kids.
We can visit my nephews
but
and niece.
It's not the same as having a zoo full of them.
A zoo full. Oh yeah, you used to be a teacher.
I did.
What's your favorite teacher classroom memory? Should we save this for the next podcast? You can give us a teaser now.
Well, one of the things was that they're really like a lab experiment, right? I remember one thing was, I was a relatively young teacher. A lot of my colleagues were a lot older than me, and like one thing I got like scolded for was referring to my class as like monsters. And I meant it like super affectionately, like
baby
my
monsters.
my monsters
Like
are
lady-
not behaving right now,
like
or my
lady-
monsters are behaving very well.
Like Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
So
but
you
that
were
was
the
pre
mother-
Gaga, right?
You were the original mother monster.
Yeah. Yeah, but like a colleague told like my HOD, and I got like reprimanded for it or something like that. Like it was
How serious was the reprimand?
not that serious, I guess, but it was just such a weird thing.
But like, nah, I'm curious to know. Like, so you met your head of department. And
I don't remember that clearly.
do you remember this? But I mean, so if it was bad, you would have remembered it for how
Yeah.
bad it was. So it was kind of, I'm guessing it was relatively trivial.
Yeah, but
It's
it was
an
just
annoying slap on the wrist from bureaucracy.
don't call your kids words that can be misconstrued as
Yeah, lah.
insulting. I don't know.
Yeah, but again, it's like the question is always how strongly do the people mean what they're saying, you know? Because there's protocol that people have to
I
follow.
feel like teachers don't take themselves that seriously in schools, and that's a bad sentence. Teachers take their job too seriously and do not take the concept of playing with kids seriously enough. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that makes sense. So they see
Yeah.
themselves as disciplinarians.
They see themselves as like shepherds instead of like a bigger kid,
Right.
and yeah.
We'll get into that more in our next episode. Thank you for hanging out. This is the Fundamentally Messy podcast with Visa and Sharon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.